All right. So, what's going on, guys? We are live. Today, I'm swapping out my coffee for a wheatgrass shot with some hot water. So, this one is very important. It's actually for all those overachievers out there who feel like, you're always pushing, and you get frustrated when you hit a wall, and it's not really even a wall. But I'm not even going to steal my own thunder, but let's just go right into it. Hi, guys. My name is Donnie Rouse, and you are listening to the podcast One Life. Granting grace. You could attract more bees with honey than you can with vinegar. It is true of honeybees, and it is also true of yourself. When you think of how you speak to yourself and how you respond to where you are in life, maybe something you're working towards, where you hit a wall, what is the response you give to yourself? Is it one of self-love? Or is it one of frustration where you're like, why can't I get through the wall? What is wrong with you? My guess is that it's probably the latter. Or at least at some point in your life or in the projects that you're doing, you will experience that. When you experience that other side of you that you don't even want to acknowledge, there is a simple set of steps I want you to take. And it all is around the act of self-love. It is all around acknowledging how far you've already come. So let's get to the questions. Where in your life do you feel like you're struggling or you're just fighting an uphill battle? 2, if you are honest with yourself, like, how far have you come? Like, what have you accomplished? It's so easy to beat yourself up because you're not seeing the immediate results. But you're forgetting that it is a compounding effect, and it is accomplishing these small steps which is actually going to move you forward. Not only that, but you discount how far you've actually come. The very fact that you get up every day and you keep moving forward towards a purpose, towards an objective. Do you ever stop to just give yourself credit for that? And then give yourself some credit. Like, why do you deserve the credit? Write down a list. And again, it could be like, how far have you come? What have you done in the past? Acknowledge the journey that you are on, right? Why would you expect it to be easy? Anything worthwhile is going to require you to break through that wall, to put forth an effort, to break out of that comfort zone. And the last thing, this was actually one of the coolest things I had learned when I was at a seminar, is giving yourself a hug and a pat on the back. It sounds funny, or even a high five. It sounds funny, but I'll get into that in just a moment. Let me tell you about where I am and the inspiration behind this episode here. So if you've been listening to me on this podcast, you know that I'm in the process of creating the One Life course, which is the intention behind the One Life course is to give you clarity on every aspect of your life. Also, the emotional and psychological necessity to move forward and go after those things. Because I believe that experiences are one of the most valuable things you could have in life. And I kind of encourage those over all the other things you could have in life. But in creating this course, sometimes it feels like it's one step forward, one step back, one step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Because it's all new. I've taught espresso coffee, but I've never actually created a course, especially one that's going to live online. And so doing this is an entirely new skill. I have to learn new ways to market, new ways, format, how to actually create the course, platforms in which to host the course. There's so many different things going on. And I forget that what the inspiration is what sent me down this path of wanting to create this course for people. But in the process, it can get pretty challenging. There are many days where I literally am like, what am I doing? And I almost want to just run away and escape. And those are the days that I am being extremely hard on myself. Those are the days that I'm not acknowledging all the growth, the journey that I took in order to get to this spot right here. Well, I think, it's kind of coffee related in the sense that the coffee is about experiencing the moment and slowing down. And this is about experiencing your life. I could even get in my own head saying, well, oh my God, I've done all this stuff with coffee and now I'm going down this path and I don't even see how they're related. Am I changing? And, the mind starts to snowball. But it doesn't matter. You can still acknowledge the path that you took. Because in appreciating the path and how far you've already come, it gives yourself the grace, the self-love to say, you know what, you came this far. Keep on going. You can do it. You can move forward. And so I constantly have to remind myself as to, well, how far have I come? Like that this is all new to me, that nothing is going to happen overnight. Nothing worthwhile happens overnight. People praise in public what you do in private, meaning nobody can see all the work that goes into it, including you, right? When you're looking online, when you're comparing yourself to the people on Instagram, social media, on TV, you're looking at it like, oh my God, would I love to do that? Oh, man, and here I am. But the people who are there didn't start there. It is a process, and this is the journey that you are on. So the intention of this podcast is to make you okay with being on that journey, okay with the forks in the road where you have to like turn around, reverse, and go down a different path. Because that's just how it is. So acknowledging how far you've already come, while also acknowledging the steps that you're taking, the fact that you show up every single day, and you still move forward, you're still focused on a goal. Give yourself some credit for that. You deserve it. And then let's go to the art of celebrating. This is where I personally feel like I have fallen short in probably most of my life. And when I say fall short, meaning I hadn't, because I'm doing it now. I've been very, very conscious of it. Congratulating myself. And when I say congratulations, it's going to sound funny and it's even going to look even funnier. But celebrating the little steps, because if you're not celebrating the little steps, you're going to get tired along the way. You're not going to want to move forward. So you have to acknowledge the effort that you've been putting forward. You got to celebrate those little steps, whether it be searching for more information or making that phone call where you were nervous, but it was the next step. And that celebration could be something like literally giving yourself a high five or wrapping your arms around yourself and giving yourself a hug and just say, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you're doing such a great job. I know you're trying hard, and I want to tell you that I appreciate you. Something along those lines. Or, reiterate the fact that you love yourself. What would that do to your life? If you started looking for all the reasons why you can celebrate and give yourself self-love, as opposed to looking for all the reasons you can break yourself down. Again, I come here as an example, and also that I'm also constantly working forward to be very conscious of this, because I realize you can't move forward when you're beating yourself up, when you're being hard on yourself. You got to give yourself the grace. You got to give yourself the time to play as well. This day started out very much like that. I woke up later than I wanted to. And then the first thing I had to do, I woke up, I was like, holy shit, I have to go bring my car in now because I got to go get my shocks and tires done. The moment I woke up, I was running out the door, and that's not a pleasant way to start your day. I did pray. I did. I was like, let me take a moment, just like take a breath and before I run out. So I did do that. And then back home, I'm like, well, all right, where do I start? What do I do? Typically, I have my week planned out. That's a habit I started doing. But this past week, I was looking at it. I was like, all right, well, do I continue just to plan my week, or I could just do it the night before, or I can go to sleep because I was feeling really tired. And I was like, well, it's always this balance for me. I'm like, all right, well, I could complete this and get it done, or I can give myself a little bit more sleep that I know I need. What do I do? So I chose to do sleep this time. And as a result of choosing that sleep, I was a little bit more lax. I planned the next day, which was the Monday. And then when Tuesday came around, I didn't do it the night before because I was like, no, I need to start getting to bed earlier. And I did the same thing. And now it's Tuesday it is Tuesday. And I'm looking at my calendar and I don't have my objectives planned. So I'm not really sure where to point. And that point, I was starting to just feel like I didn't know what to do. And then it was at that point I gave myself like the hug and the high five saying, Donnie, I acknowledge you. I love you. You're doing so good. And one of the things that I hadn't been doing in the past was blocking out the things that would allow me to move forward faster, namely getting outdoors, going for a walk, moving my body. It was always like do. Yesterday, I was in the process of doing, and then I realized I kept avoiding wanting to sit in my chair because my hips were hurting. Right? I'd been sitting all day. I'm like, oh my God, I hate this. But what was it really? What was causing the frustration, the aggravation? It was because I wasn't moving, and all of a sudden, when everything starts to get stiff, and now all of a sudden, it doesn't allow me to focus on what I need to focus on. But now all my focus is going to the pains in my body. So today, the first thing I did after I gathered myself, I came back from the car dealership. I said, okay, let me just first and foremost block out the time for me just to move my body and to stretch, because this is what gets in the way of me completing my data set to my satisfaction, to having a great day. Let me block that time first. So I put that time in my calendar. And then I was like, all right, what's the next thing? I want to go online. I want to go live. I want to show up, because this is all about creating habits, right? Like I show up here because this goes onto my podcast, but it also gets chopped up and put onto my Instagram through Reels, taking out quotes from the podcast. So this is like my long form for my social media. So I was like, well, let me get that. So this way I get in the habit of showing up. Okay, done. All right, what's next? Then I blocked out the gym. The gym is right after this. I'm going to go for a run and first and foremost, again, most importantly, stretch. So I'm going to go right to the gym after that. And then I will work on my course. So now all of a sudden, the day started to take a rhythm because I was prioritizing the things that were important and getting past the blocks that I know usually get in the way. But, sometimes you know what blocks get in the way, but you don't bother to change them. You just keep going day after day, doing the same thing. And then you get frustrated. You're like, oh, shit, this again. No, if you're getting stuck, strategize. So this way you're not facing the same and you can move around it rather than just keep bumping your head against the wall. I mean, there's a lot of analogies I use about breaking through, jumping over, moving around. But in this case, move around it, right? Because it's not beneficial to your productivity. And I know it's not self-loving, because when you get in that state, you don't react favorably, right? When you're aggravated, when you're frustrated, how do you respond to others? And then how do you respond to yourself? I know when you respond to yourself, it is 10 times worse than you respond to others. So what do you gather from everything I just spoke about right now? First, acknowledge the journey Give yourself grace. Nothing worthwhile in life comes easy. I mean, sometimes things may come easy, but likely it's because you did some of that work up front. Secondly, where are you now? Like, where is that area in your life where you're feeling a little bit frustrated? Third, like, if you're honest with yourself, how far have you come? Like, what have been the accomplishments in your past leading up to this point? If you're starting something new, you might be beating yourself up, being like, oh my God, well, you're starting something new. But just let's look at the successes of our past. Let's celebrate our past successes. What are you proud of? How much have you grown in an area of your life? What is going well in your life? Give yourself some credit for that. Next, look at the process where you're feeling frustrated now. Be honest with yourself. How can you applaud the effort that you're giving? The fact that you are showing up, even if you're frustrated, showing up frustrated. The fact that you are showing up means that you are putting in the work. You are paying your dues. So just acknowledge that. And what else could you acknowledge? Maybe just acknowledging where you want to take it. If it's something you want that is going to take you to maybe a trip or allow you to have the impact you want. Acknowledging what the aspirations are and the intentions are. And then lastly, once you've acknowledged those steps that you're taking, give yourself a hug and just tell yourself that you love you. It sounds weird saying that. You love you. Tell yourself, I love you. And literally embrace yourself and feel it. It's amazing. If you would have told me that hugging yourself could make you feel good, I wouldn't have believed it. But it does. One of my friends, and I've done a podcast on this before, he said, you have to love yourself more than anyone else because you're the only person that you have. Meaning you're the only person that you're guaranteed to have, right? Because you can't run away from yourself, right? You can get married, and then all of a sudden get divorced because the person leaves you, but you always have you. So make sure the relationship you're building with yourself is one that is beautiful, one that is full of love, self-love. After you do that, give yourself just a little bit of breathing room. Do something that'll put a smile on your face, that'll remind you of what it is you're going for in the first place. After that, after you've noticed your energy shift and you're feeling better, then start to your work. Then start moving again forward, putting the car in drive. And I know that you'll show up completely different. I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. I hope that just by listening to this, it allows you to be kinder to yourself and to look for ways to just add a little bit more enjoyment to your day. If you like this podcast, please hit that subscribe button. If you want to ask a question or comment, you could do so by visiting my website at www.donnyraus.com. Again, that's DONNYRAUS.com. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. I realize you could be putting your effort or your energy somewhere else. And most of the time, it's usually on a distraction, but you chose to listen to this. You chose to learn a different skill or maybe pick up something new that could help you on your journey. And that itself deserves an applaud. So let's start right there. Remember, guys, you only get one life. Live it. God bless, and I will see you again soon.